We're gonna do round robin. So, okay.
Yeah, let's start with you, Randy.
All right, cool. So for me, number 10, it's still pretty fresh in my mind. On the Rocks. Sofia Coppola directed and wrote it. Stars Rashida Jones, Bill Murray, and Marlon Wayans. And basically, it's a bittersweet dramedy about a woman who suspects her husband of fooling around. So she basically teams up with her father, played by Bill Murray. I should say Rashida Jones plays the daughter. And both of them basically kind of sneak around, try to find out what's going on with the husband. And it's a very great relationship between father and daughter. It's funny, it's sad, it's kind of gritty, it's kind of very real, and it just feels like it could actually happen, and it has happened, I'm sure, numerous times with many married couples. And Sofia Coppola, she basically, I've mentioned this in our previous review last week, that New York is just shot really well and seems like it's its own character in itself. And yeah, for those reasons, On the Rocks is my number 10. So Rachel, number 10.
So, as a preface, I actually did a top 16 because I could not narrow down those last six. But I do realize that a couple of these might not necessarily be considered your traditional movie. So I'm going to throw in my bottom slot, Hamilton, which was the filmed production of the stage show that was done for Disney Plus.
Cool.
That should have been on my shame list. I forgot to put it on there. I have not seen it yet.
Oh, wow.
It was pretty good, but I'm sure that the impact of the show would be a lot better and stronger if you see it in person.
Yes, I would agree with that. There's nothing like live theater, but if you're not able to see it, and we're never going to see that cast together again. So
yeah. The side note, would any of that cast be in the Heights coming up?
Yes,
I think Lin-Manuel, right?
Yeah.
The actor who plays John Lawrence and also plays Hamilton's son is going to be the lead in the Heights movie.
Oh, cool.
Yep. And he was also seen in A Star is Born as well.
Right.
Awesome. Cool. Chris, number 10.
Number 10, starting it off, King of Staten Island.
Really?
Yeah. It made it. Loved it. Again, agreed with you guys. Not a huge Pete Davidson fan, but this was like something totally different. It's kind of based off of his life too. His father died in 9/11 in real life, and I thought he really captured that on screen. And I just love the momentum of the film. I love the acting in the film, and it got to me in all the right ways.
I want to see an Oscar for Bill Burr.
That Bill Burr is the man.
I would love to see him get supporting.
Well,
yeah, I mean,
he could get his EGOT between this and Mandalorian.
Seriously,
he's impressing me. At first, I was like, this guy, he's okay. He's kind of fun.
He was a guy I always just was like, oh, he's okay.
Yeah.
This year, after Saturday Night Live, Mandalorian, and this.
Yeah, I think he's
plus Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad. He's in Breaking.
Oh, that's.
Oh yeah.
Forrest, number 10.
Number 10 for me is Black Bear.
Okay.
Got to see it.
Yeah, that's on my list of stuff to see this week or next. Okay. Matt, number 10.
My number 10, I usually it's Soul. Which is something I very rarely ever put animated or children's films in my top 10. But I felt like this needed to be there.
I feel like I got to get at least one animated or Pixar movie on there every year.
Yeah, I don't know why. I always try to I don't know. It's just like how my brain is. I'm like, well, I don't know. Should I? But I mean, because a lot of times if I did, most of my movies would be animated films. Most of my top 10. But I just thought Soul absolutely amazing.
I loved it too. I could totally see why it's in your top 10. For me though, I felt like it felt a lot like Inside Out. Like it just felt like
it did have a lot of that Inside Out
vibe to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
definitely.
But it was
I can totally see why.
I love the way, because it's a very subtle, very gentle way of, explaining death to kids, which is brilliant.
And I absolutely love that we started this year off with Onward and we ended it with Soul.
Yes. Yeah.
I thought Pixar really sandwiched this shitty year with some good bread. So and sprinkled it with great seasonings. Those shorts that they released during these past couple months have all been great.
Man, now I want like a bologna sandwich. I just got a craving for that.
A lot of bologna.
A lot of bologna.
All right. Number 9 for me would be Wendy, directed by Ben Zeitlin, who he basically, came on the scene in 2012 or 13 with Beasts of the Southern Wild, which is an amazing film.
So good.
About, a father and daughter who are struggling with poverty, and a storm is kind of ripping their town apart. This film, this is his follow-up 7 years later, with basically a reimagining of the Peter Pan story. And it's so gritty. It's, it's raw, it's fun, it's an adventure that you want to go on. And the characters, I think they're all played by, lesser known actors or first time actors, especially the girl who plays Wendy. And it's just a beautiful film. And I think, more people need to see it. So that's my number 9. Rachel?
So since Wendy was also on my list, I'm going to move on to one of the other ones on my list.
Okay.
I'm going to throw out Birds of Prey. This was I think this was the last movie that I saw in theaters before they closed. I actually saw an early screening of it, and then I went back and paid to see it again because I just loved it so much. That fight sequence on the roller skates. Give me more of that.
I will just say with Birds of Prey, I feel like the title was a little misleading. As someone who reads comics, as the Birds of Prey themselves took a backseat to Harley Quinn, who was, I feel like it was the Harley Quinn movie that Suicide Squad should have been.
Yeah. Well, if you're going off of the full title, I mean, but most people weren't going off of the full title because honestly, it's a mouthful. Birds of Prey is much easier to just.
I was expecting like Batgirl and, like Catwoman teaming up. I was thinking like the 2002 series. That's what I was expecting, but it was fun. Margot Robbie really made the first film pretty great.
And same with this one too.
Yeah. So she's.
And I mean, the Birds of Prey stuff too. I wish there was more of that.
Yeah,
I thought they were all incredible.
Yeah, I wanted more Huntress. I wanted more Montoya.
Definitely.
Yeah, well, this felt very almost like Guardians of the first Guardians of the Galaxy, where they're all kind of their separate things, and then the second one you get to kind of hit the ground running.
Yeah, like I really hope they actually do a Birds of Prey movie instead of just like doing like. Even though I love her Harley Quinn and whatever, but like. I want to see that Birds of Prey movie, the real Birds of Prey.
That real a real team movie.
Yeah.
So that's why I love your list, Rachel, because actually Birds of Prey was actually on the bottom of what I saw last year. I was really I was really disappointed in it actually. Like, and I think it's because of that comment where it was the Harley Quinn movie, which we got plenty of in Suicide Squad, but I want to see more of the other characters. And her Harley Quinn's great, but
and that might be because I never saw the Suicide Squad movie because I just heard very not good things about it.
And I
actually liked it more.
I loved her and I loved Will Smith. That was all I liked in that movie.
I liked that movie a little bit more than Birds of Prey. I thought it was very the team dynamic.
I agree with that.
A lot of fun. Great.
Yeah.
I actually rewatched all of the DCEU movies in preparation.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, some of them are pretty good.
I
honestly
love your preparation for these films.
I think the reason why I liked Birds of Prey so much is because I hated every other DC film so much. It's like I loved Shazam.
Yeah.
I did not like Shazam either.
I thought Shazam was fun.
I know. I'm sorry.
I love
guys.
Shazam,
I'd have
and
been
I
shocked.
thought Birds of Prey was a lot of fun. But every movie they did before that, like, I mean, even like people like praised Wonder Woman. I thought Wonder Woman was pretty boring. I thought it was just
I did not like.
That's the
like
brand
Wonder
new
Woman.
DCEU movie, I think.
I thought it was a boring, like, let's try to do Captain America first Avenger.
Yeah.
And they
I can see
do
that.
it with a more boring war.
Yeah.
World War One is clearly the more boring World War
There's a
Two.
reason why World War One doesn't have a lot of movies compared to
Exactly.
World War II.
Except for 1917,
And
which
War Horse.
fucking killed it.
Yeah.
That
All
movie
right,
was
guys.
incredible.
All right.
Yep.
We're getting off topic.
And another thing.
Yeah. All right, Rachel, that was your number 9, right?
Yes, Birds of Prey. And also
Okay.
special mention for that sandwich, because that sandwich looked delicious.
Oh, the egg and cheese.
We're
Yeah,
talking about sandwiches again. 2 movies in a row.
Did not expect that. Chris, your
Chris
number
mentioned sandwiches.
your number 9.
It's the sandwich. It's Kajillionaire.
Oh, nice.
Miranda July's Kajillionaire. Really
Okay.
loved it. Really quirky, just dysfunctional family film that's like just builds on top of this character, and she really just blossoms. And I didn't going in. I was excited to see it, but I didn't know what to expect, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it.
Cool.
It was on my runner-up list, my
Mhm.
honorable mention list,
Mhm.
until I realized that my honorable mention list was so long that I took a
Right.
couple movies out of it.
Yeah.
But I will honorably mention that movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I love Miranda July, and I just thought it was a fantastic movie.
And yet my shame list keeps growing with you guys. So here we go.
Yeah.
All right. Forrest,
Re-
number 9.
Yeah.
My number 9 is the documentary Scream Queen: Nightmare on My Street. It's a documentary about Mark Patton, the star of Nightmare on Elm Street 2. For me, he was one of the rare gay leads in an 80s slasher flick. And it's basically following his life. It's basically documenting his life from before Nightmare on Elm Street 2, during Nightmare on Elm Street 2, and after Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
That's Freddy's Revenge, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And also, he wasn't even out yet, so the movie kind of outed him.
Yeah.
It's an incredible story. We showed it at Cult Cafe.
I know. I remember that. That was early last year.
February, yeah.
Yeah, I missed it at Cult Cafe, but I did catch it on Shudder earlier last year.
Cool.
It was.
Yeah, I had to see that. I wanted to go see that in person. And he was actually at the center, right? He was.
No, he wasn't there.
It wasn't. Okay.
No. He was promoting it though, which was awesome.
Okay.
On Instagram and stuff, so that was really cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think he lives in South America now.
He lives in Mexico.
Mexico, yeah.
Really? Okay.
So,
Is he still acting?
Yeah, he recently got back into acting within the last decade, because he stepped away from acting for a long time after Nightmare on Elm Street 2. But he's been getting back into it.
Yeah, he didn't realize also like what a cult following. It's cool because it shows you like how like like a lot of like it's a movie that like it was so embraced by gay culture that like, and he kind of didn't realize that like it had this positive effect.
Wow.
Not just how negative it was to him, but it's definitely a great documentary. Everyone should check out.
Yeah.
Even if
you're not a Nightmare on Elm Street fan, I would say check it out.
If you're not into horror, it's still like
Would you?
I brought my 8-year-old daughter to see it too. She loved it.
Granted, I'm kind of biased because I am a Nightmare on Elm Street fan, so but still, I like even for the non-fans, I recommend it.
Would you guys recommend seeing Friday Elm Street 2 before or after the documentary?
Or just
I can go either way. Either way, I mean, granted, I had already seen it before.
It'll probably make you want to see it if you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Okay, guys. So we are at number
9 still, right?
Number 9 for you, Matt. You're right.
Did Chris win? All right, I didn't go. And mine's quick. My number 9 is Palm Springs. We've already talked about it. It was a lot of fun. I enjoy time loop movies. There were several of them this year, like Horse Girl and that, and it's a lot of fun. I loved it.
I'm not a huge Andy Samberg fan, but yeah,
I absolutely adore him. So
I enjoyed that one.
I'm a huge fan of everyone in that movie.
Yep, I'll take that one off my list because that was also in my excess list.
There we go.
And I will say, if you're comparing it to Groundhog Day, it does have a better romance and a better couple overall than Groundhog
Definitely.
Day.
No,
I can agree with that.
No,
Andy McDowell was kind of bland, kind of forgettable. I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
I love Andy McDowell, but like,
well,
she's underwritten.
I'm a huge Groundhog Day fan.
So am I.
Actually,
Chris.
to the point where I go to the filming location, Woodstock, Illinois, and I've gone 3 times, and if it wasn't for this pandemic, I actually would be there. I just love that movie.
Oh yeah, I forgot tomorrow's Groundhog Day.
Yeah,
Weird.
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Or is today and yesterday Groundhog Day and the day after?
Exactly.
All right. So we're moving on to number 8, and this will be quick for me. Soul. I loved it. I thought it was some of the best animation. Their team like gets better and better every year. And the main character, voiced by Jamie Foxx, looked great. And it was a character of color, which was beautiful. It's very nice to see that. And again, great story, very easy for kids to digest, about the afterlife, about identity, and great music too. John Baptiste from Stay Human and the Colbert Report, the Late Night with Stephen Colbert. He was actually a music supervisor, I believe. And yeah, you got just a beautiful jazz score, and it's just a beautiful animated film, and it's actually my only animated film on my list. So yeah, kudos to Pixar. All right, number 8 for you, Rachel.
Okay, so for number 8, I'm going to shout out The Boys in the Band on Netflix. It is based on a play by the same name, which was revived a couple years back and was produced by Ryan Murphy. And this adaptation for Netflix is also produced by Ryan Murphy as part of the larger deal that he has with the network. It's just got incredible performances from the whole cast. It's absolutely stacked as far as casting. It's one of my favorite roles with Jim Parsons. This and I would say The Normal Heart are 2 of my favorite performances I've seen with him. And it also made me happy because I had very mixed feelings about the series Hollywood, which was also produced by Ryan Murphy, and it was really good to see him playing a gay character that I had less reservations about than I did with that show.
Yeah, did any of you guys, did we review Hollywood together? Was that name you?
Yeah, with me.
Okay, that was and Dave, right? That was a 2-part. Yeah, that was one of the rare occasions where I reviewed a TV show. And yeah, with Hollywood, I was expecting a lot more. But I think the first few episodes were very, the homosexuality was very prevalent, and it couldn't turn me off. But overall, the rest of it was pretty good.
Randy hates gay people.
Oh, I love gay.
No.
But the cast for this, just to give a quick rundown, you've got Jim Parsons, you've got Zachary Quinto, Matt Bomer, Andrew Rannells, Robin DeJesus.
Every gay person that exists.
It's an incredible cast.
NPH.
No, he is not.
Okay.
Not appearing in this film. But it was directed by Joe Mantello. If you never saw it, if you haven't heard of the play, it's definitely worth checking out. Get some really good performances from them, and really the wonderful thing about it is that it's, I think just about every main character is gay, and it shows how much the community is not a monolith. There is all sorts of within that a diversity of thought, a diversity of opinion. It's just really great. And there's also a making of special on Netflix as well with it. So I recommend checking that out.
And the title of the movie again?
The Boys in the Band.
Cool. All right. Sounds good to me. Chris, number 8.
Yeah. My number 8 needs no explanation. Mank. I love Mank. It gets, and talking about Hollywood and now talking about Mank, right? It's just my cinephile, senses just like, just rises when watching this. I loved it. Yeah.
That movie, yeah, it was what I expected and hoped Hollywood,
Yes.
the TV show, was going to be.
Yeah.
And
you got it, right?
You got it.
You
got it. David Fincher, knocked out of the park. Gary Oldman. This, by the way, this is okay. Well, I'll save that. But yeah, Gary Oldman.
I have a feeling it's up there for
you. Can you tell? But yeah, this movie. I don't know if I just save my spiel for now or for later, or do it just now.
Put it in your pocket.
I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna table it.
Yeah.
But okay.
Put a pin in it. Put a pin in it.
Stay tuned for that. But number 8 for you, Forrest.
Number 8 for me is Nocturne. It was released as part of the Amazon's Welcome to the Blumhouse series. So it's on Amazon Prime. It stars Sydney Sweeney from Euphoria and Handmaid's Tale, Handmaid's Tale. But she plays a pianist at a conservatory who makes a Faustian deal to become a better pianist than her twin sister, and then just gets really bizarre and very bizarre and weird from there. With a lot. I'm sure if there's any way I could put it, but just I would say it's a solid Devil Made Me Do It horror thriller.
Cool.
All right,
a Crossroads-esque deal with the devil.
Yeah.
Okay.
With a bit of an Argento aesthetic to it too.
Cool. What's the name again? I'm sorry.
Nocturne.
Nocturne. Okay.
Nocturne.
Cool. Check that one out. Add that to the list. Mr. Roren, number 8 for you.
Number 8 for me, we've already discussed today, is On the Rocks. Sofia Coppola's latest film with, of course, Rashida Jones and Bill Murray. It was everything I hoped it to be. You can move on.
It's great.
And it's a great movie.
Yeah, and it's like one of 2 movies on Apple TV Plus that we reviewed, the other being Wolfwalkers.
Right. It's one of 3 movies on Apple Plus TV that I've actually watched. So
what was the third?
Was the Beastie Boys documentary, which is why I got Apple Plus.
What about Greyhound?
I haven't seen that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that was obviously kind of forgettable. But yeah.
That says a lot about you, Randy. It has your boy in there.
Well, we're going to talk about a better
Tommy boy.
Very soon. Cool.
He redeemed himself with News of the World.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Now for number 7, a movie that I think most of us really enjoyed, if not loved. It's Promising Young Woman.
Oh, I put that a little higher on my list.
It's way higher on my list.
Yeah, I was kind of shuffling it around because I didn't know where it fit in. But it's a crazy story of a woman, a promising young woman, played by Carey Mulligan, who basically wants to get revenge on men that would like to take advantage of her. And basically it has a twisty ending. It's got a fantastic performance from Mulligan. It's dark, it's funny, it's disturbing. And I'm really glad that this movie came out. And I'm glad it came out when it did, because it was this kind of like jump-started, like, I guess, award season, or that period of time, end of the year, where the great movies come out. And this was like one of the first ones.
This was on my last year's like most anticipated.
Really?
Yeah.
Like once I saw the trailer for it, I was like, I need to see that movie.
Same here.
Then the goddamn pandemic happened. And I was like, I am never going to see this movie. So on Christmas, when it opened, I brought my kids to go see Wonder Woman 84. And then dropped them off at home. And the next day I went to go see this by myself.
Yeah, I actually got to catch this one in theaters. Catch this one in theaters too. Although my audience,
I have to put this on my shame list.
Oh
But
no.
yeah, but it sounds like a grounded version of Teeth.
It's the teeth.
I would say more. I would say. I would say a less. I would say, probably say it's more like a less gratuitous.
Right.
I spit on your grave.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's number one for me. I'll
Yeah.
just
Here.
spoiler.
It's my
It's
number one as
it's
well.
my
Well-
number one spot.
Oh wow.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also-
Carrie Mulligan. You know, I just
Yeah,
love her
number
in
5 for
everything.
me.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
her in Education. She's fantastic in Shame. That's a movie that I reference quite a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, in reviews, not in
But yeah.
quotes or anything like that. But it's a great movie, and she steals every movie
Yeah.
that she's in.
But I was also say the cast of this movie was just really. I was surprised at how star-studded it was, because you didn't just have Carey Mulligan. You had Bo Burnham, Alison Brie, Molly Shannon,
Clancy Brown.
Adam
Wood.
Brody.
super bad McLovin.
Yep,
Yep.
he's in this.
And another good Carrie Mulligan film, her with Jake Gyllenhaal in Wildlife.
Oh yeah.
He plays kind of like a miserable housewife in that.
Did
Yeah.
any of you see Carey Mulligan was just on Daily Show, and she was saying that for the roles of the guys, that the director had actually basically like they didn't know what movie they were really shooting, and they were all led to believe that they were the lead in a romantic comedy.
Oh my god.
So that's so their performances, like Adam Brody, like he's playing it like he's gonna be like the major love interest in this romantic comedy.
So they knew they knew that before.
Really got great performances out of it.
They knew that before they read the script.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was basically like they were like led to believe like they were like doing a rom-com.
Yeah. And speaking of the script, it is written and directed by Emerald Fennell, and this is her directorial debut, or her feature film debut. And before this, she's been an actress. You might have seen her in Called a Midwife. She was also she appears briefly in Promising Young Woman as the actress doing the makeup tutorial in the YouTube video. And she was also on the most recent season of The Crown as Camilla.
Cool.
Yeah, very, very talented actress, but wow, this her first movie out the gate. I'm so excited to see what she does next.
Seriously.
Definitely. And this is a very strong, Me Too type of movie. So that's another thing worth exploring. It's a very important film at this time.
I did not mention it. It's a movie I kind of forgot about. Also along the same line, The Assistant. I think it was a really important film this year.
Just describing it, it sounds like it.
Yeah. Like that was The Assistant. It was basically based off of one of the like assistants of Harvey Weinstein. So it's basically about this assistant who has to deal with just like horrible men all day, and it's one of those movies that we showed it at the theater. People hated it because it's slow and there's no story because it doesn't have an ending, but it was a beautiful, necessary film.
And I'll tell you, Julia Garner, who is the lead in that, the assistant, she had a supporting role on Ozark.
Yes.
Which, if you guys haven't seen this show, it's amazing. It's right up there in the style of like Breaking Bad. And she is the highlight of that show. She's like this kind of rednecky, kind of like very, very vulgar young woman. She's like in her mid-20s, and she's basically, she like goes up the ranks in this like criminal endeavor, and it's just a great performance from her. And she was very good in The Assistant as well. That didn't make any of my lists, but it was a decent film.
Yeah, it didn't make any of my lists, but I figured I'd mention it now.
I think we reviewed that on my show, on the shows.
I don't think I reviewed it with you.
Okay. Yeah, that was definitely reviewed, but okay. So Matt, you just did number 8, right?
No, I interrupted somebody.
Oh, sorry.
I interrupted Forrest.
Forrest, did you just do your 8?
Yeah, I already did my number 8.
Okay. All right, Matt. Roren.
Okay, my number 8 was wait, I already...
Oh, I'm sorry. I just did my number 7.
Oh, you did number.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Promising Young Woman.
you know me. I went on a tangent.
I'm gonna delete these as I go off the list. That would make a lot more sense. All right, so that was my number 7, and I think Rachel, you are up.
Yes. So speaking of the Me Too movement, next one on my list is the documentary On the Record, which is on HBO Max, currently available. It is mainly following Drew Dixon, who previously worked in the music industry, and is just an incredible producer and finder of talent in her own right. But most of the film follows her decision to come forward with her stories of working with Russell Simmons, who, of course, is a giant in the music industry, not to mention, of course, like self-help, meditation, that whole world of things. It's really incredible, and it does a great job, kind of the same way that Promising Young Woman does, in talking about the collateral damage of the women that are caught up in these things. That even if that it's like, no matter what, that a lot of these women, their careers are destroyed before we even get a chance to know what we've lost. So I highly recommend checking it out. I believe that they actually received so much backlash initially when the movie was produced that they ended up losing their first distributor. And fortunately, HBO Max came through and picked it up.
Awesome.
And yeah, I highly recommend checking it out. And the director of that is Kirby Dick, who also did This Film Is Not Yet Rated, about the MPAA.
Cool. All right. Sounds like an important one. Mr. Clemente, number 7.
No, number 7, I'll keep it short. It's a movie that we've all kind of mentioned, On the Rocks. Just adored it. What's more to say? Rashida Jones, Bill Murray, awesome.
Definitely. Cool. Forrest.
All right, my number 7 is the opening act, starring Jimmy O. Yang, Cedric the Entertainer, Whitney Cummings, Ken Jeong. It's a lot of
Cool.
Bill Burr, Debbie Ryan, Bill Burr. It's a movie that very much resonated with me, about an Asian American young Asian American man who wanted to become a comedian when he grew up. As a kid, he aspired to become a comedian, become a comic, but he ended up working a dead end office. He's working a dead end office job, and has been trying to break into comedy. Just the premise of working a dead end job and working a dead end job and wanting to break into a more creative field, as well as the trajectory of growing up a first generation Asian American. Definitely that all resonated with me a lot.
And the title again?
The opening act.
Opening act. I like that. I think we can all relate in some way to that. Cool. All right. Matt, number 7.
My number 7 is Bill and Ted Face the Music. This movie, I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Bill and Ted franchise. I'm one of those people who I kind of like the second one better. So I'm one of those weird ones because it's so weird and it gets so dark. I just love it. And they're both the original 2 are fantastic, both fantastic. And I was kind of nervous that this would not live up to the other 2.
That they waited too long.
Maybe they waited too long. Maybe they wouldn't be able to find those characters again. And it was like one of those things. Like, I pre-ordered it. It was this is like the beginning of the pandemic, where it's like we're just dying for new movies, and this is one I've been waiting for literally like 6 years since they started talking about it.
Yeah.
And and it was one of those
One of
movies
things that
where
would never happen.
I thought, yeah, honestly, like all these things, like it was
Goonies
like
2.
Goonies 2
Two.
or Ghostbusters that yeah, we'll see if that actually comes out this year.
Yeah.
And where they wait too long and then half the cast is dead, so who the fuck cares anyway?
Yeah.
But it's one of those things that it hit me so hard. The comedy was there. Like, for some reason, Keanu Reeves' British accent, when he's faking a British accent in a movie, is still better than his British accent in Dracula. What? I don't know, but his like, oh, I'm faking it was so much better than him trying to do it for real. But it's, and I just hands down, I had such a good time watching it. I watched it like 3 times, which is good because I bought it.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where I just had to buy it, and I'm only sad because it's the first of the 3 that I didn't get to see in the theater. I saw the other 3 when they came out in theaters. This one I didn't. The other 2.
I remember seeing Bogus Journey in theaters in '91. Actually, I was 6.
Yeah, I saw both, and it's I don't know. It definitely, like, it left me feeling complete. Like, it was like one of those things where, like, I left it being like okay, like, they did that and it worked, and like, the universe is okay.
Yeah. It works as a sequel, obviously, but I was expecting so much more. But at the same
I was expecting so much less, so I think that's why. And it's like, I'm a huge fan, so I was like, I had a lot of doubts.
I was not surprised with what I saw. I saw a decent sci-fi comedy and nothing more.
And that's how I always go into these things, like, hey, it's gonna suck. Like, I have, like, even though it's on my most anticipated list, I have fucking 0 expectations for Afterlife. I think Ghostbusters Afterlife is gonna be a shit show, and I'm sure it's gonna suck. So that way, when it doesn't, I'll be so happy.
Let's hope you're wrong. All right. Well, moving on. Number 6 now. For me, this is a smaller film. I'm not sure if I reviewed it with any of you guys. It's a dramedy called Abe, and it's basically about a 12-year-old boy who unites his half Israeli, half Palestinian family through cooking.
We did this, yes.
We reviewed this, yes.
Now, this was a smaller film, and this is probably the smallest film on my top 10, but I just thought it was so sweet, so endearing, so cute. And I love, the way that they filmed the food. It kind of reminded me of Jon Favreau's Chef. But this movie, it was just a really nice family dramedy.
Basically, he did a better job of uniting the both sides of the Gaza conflict than Bruno did.
Yeah, basically. And it's just a lighthearted, fun movie that you could show it to your kids. It's really just a very pleasant film. So that is my number 6. Down to you, Rachel.
Okay, so for my number 6, I am going with The Trial of the Chicago 7, which we talked about a little bit earlier. Aaron Sorkin, of course, writing and directing. This is just a stacked cast. Everyone's bringing their A game. And I highly recommend, if you do check it out, if you do watch it, I would suggest watching the movie and then watching Legal Eagle, who is a YouTuber that does recaps of movies from a lawyer's perspective. And there's actually entire segments of the script that are almost taken directly from what happened. And he talks about some of the changes that are made story-wise to make it better as a movie. But I highly recommend it. And there's also, and it's kind of essentially an audio drama where they read the transcript of the trial, and it's all actors that are reading the different characters for it.
Wow.
So, I mean, if you really want to marathon a lot of stuff about the trial of the Chicago 7, there you go.
Cool.
Oh my God. And Aaron Sorkin, I don't think I've ever seen something he's done that was bad. Like, he does his homework.
I feel like Molly's Game gets a little trashed on, but I loved it.
What was it, Jessica Chastain, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think it was the best directing, but it was also the first time Aaron Sorkin had directed his own work.
Yeah. I loved it. I thought it was great.
That was written well.
Definitely on my shame list, the Trial of Chicago 7, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's on mine now.
And isn't it like it's pretty long, Rachel? Like 2.5 hours?
It's pretty lengthy, yeah. The nice thing about it is that it almost plays a bit like a mini series. So if you wanted to, you could split it in thirds or in half and come back and like just watch it as like episodes.
Cool. Another Netflix movie, so that sounds good. Alrighty, Chris, number 6.
Yeah. So my 6 and 5 are extremely weird movies that'll make you think. They'll make you want to watch it 2 or 3 times so that you can get it. But my number 6 is Charlie Kaufman's "I'm Thinking of Ending Things." Just a wildly small, but also just a real mind gut experience where you have no idea what's going on up to the very end. You're asking yourself, what did I just watch? Why did we just watch it? Who is this guy? Who is that girl? What's going on? You might want to watch it again. It's a very slow burn movie. And if you can stomach it, watch it again just to kind of understand the spaces between the lines. And it'll make you think. It'll make you think your own psyche. And it's Charlie Kaufman, so there's like a lot of paranoia in there too. And it's just it's great. It's a very enclosed movie, especially watching it on a small screen in a pandemic. A large portion of it takes place in a car, in a cold, wintry setting where it feels like that the window is being fogged over you.
I watched it last night while the snow was outside.
Yeah. Oh my
and
gosh.
It was coming down. And I was like, I felt like I was in the movie. It was great.
Yeah. It's just a great performance, and it's definitely something to watch over again. Yep.
We go from Aaron Sorkin to Charlie Kaufman. That's really quite a jump.
Yeah.
Quite a leap. I love it.
Masters of their trade, though. I mean,
indeed,
some of the best working filmmakers, I'd say.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Forrest, number 6.
My number 6. We're gonna go from another is from another Kaufman, not Charlie Kaufman, Lloyd Kaufman. It is Shakespeare's Shitstorm. It is the latest. It is the latest from Troma. It is a scatological take on the Tempest.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That wasn't the one you were involved with, was it?
Well, I was in the music video for the movie's theme song, but but I wasn't in the movie. I was not in the movie itself.
Oh God, are you guys big Troma fans?
I have seen some Troma films, and I know, of course, that it was a starting place for a lot of great filmmakers to cut their teeth and get a chance to produce something. So
it's cool. And I should just say that Tromaville, it's actually a house located in Astoria, Queens, and the front of the garage door has a huge painting of
the Toxic Avenger.
Yeah, Toxie. So you guys probably remember the Toxic Crusaders cartoon series from the 90s.
That was my introduction to Troma.
Oh, nice. I think mine too. So yeah, good times. Alrighty, Mr. Roren, number 6.
My number 6 is Antebellum, which I just watched earlier today, and it just made me scooch around some stuff. It's it's just another one of those movies that it had the feeling of Get Out meets The Village. I don't want to give too much away, but that's basically the whole of it, which you pretty much get within the in the realm of the movie watching it. And I just thought it was really well done, and it's more than just usually like the put like from the producers of, and it's usually just like them trying to like shove off some crap on you, this one was like, obviously the producers of Get Out and Us. And I actually think I liked this more than I liked Us. I really liked Us, but like
Us was one of my favorites of last year or of 2019.
But yeah.
Matt, would you compare it in any way to Midsummer?
I don't think so. I mean,
because that movie is a total mind.
Well, I mean, Midsummer, I absolutely loved. I saw it twice in the theater. I saw it when it came out, and then I saw the director's cut in theater when it came out.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, it's a completely different thing. But it's interesting because it's hard to explain without giving anything away. But anyway, I think you should check it out. It's one of those movies also that I was so anticipating seeing in the theater, and then that was snatched away from us. So I'm glad I finally got to see it.
Cool. All righty. Moving right along, we're halfway there through the top 10s. Number 5 for me. I don't know. I mean, this was an honorable mention, but then, I realized how good the performances were. The Five Bloods.
That's number 4 for me.
Number 4? Okay, gotcha. So directed by Stan Lee.
Spike Lee.
Spike Lee.
What did I say? Stan Lee? Oh my God.
Yeah, you did.
We'll edit that maybe.
True believers.
From the grave.
Imagine. We've got Spike Lee directing this great drama, which kind of goes back and forth from the Vietnam War to present day, about a group of former soldiers who reunite to try and find buried treasure, basically, in Vietnam. And what made this number 5 on my list was the performance of Delroy Lindo.
Yes.
Who I think he deserves the Academy Award for Best Actor for this performance. It was so intense, so real, just so phenomenal that you actually felt the emotion that he was emitting. And it was just a brilliant performance. You also have Chadwick Boseman, the late great Chadwick, in one of his last roles, who also gives a great performance. And this movie was just, it dealt with race relations, and it was beautifully shot. Spike Lee did a wonderful job here, as he usually does, and I was blown away by this movie. And it came out during the pandemic, like right in the middle, and on Netflix, and it was just exactly a powerful film that we needed. So that's my number 5. So, all righty, Rachel.
So I also had Five Bloods on my list, and since we already talked about Pieces of a Woman earlier, which the only other thing I'll have to say about that is that the one shot of the home birth is just incredible filmmaking. So for the next one on my list, I'm going to say keep it in the Netflix family and go with Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
And with Chadwick Boseman.
Yep, there you go. Wow.
Yep, getting Chadwick Boseman's last performance, and really just incredible performances from all the leads in it, the band members. I mean, of course, Viola Davis.
Yeah.
I mean, does she ever give a bad performance? Never. So, and another great stage adaptation, along with Boys in the Band.
Yeah, and I'd say that movie, I think Chadwick undoubtedly made that movie. Like, that was his, it's just a great way to go out on, just strong. So that was
right.
Indeed.
Cool. All right, Chris, number 5.
Sure. So this one, it played a festival in 2019. I'm going to say it's 2020 because that's where the wider release was. It's a film that we reviewed, Randy. It's a really weird movie, but I loved it. Vivarium. It's Lorcan.
I expect to hear that title again.
Yeah. Lorcan, Finnegan's, and starring Jesse Eisenberg. It's just such a weird movie that gets in your craw, gets into your headspace, and I have yet to forget it throughout the whole entire year. and it's almost like this could be your living nightmare if if it does happen to you. Hopefully it doesn't. But basically, it's a couple that looks at this house and gets trapped into the neighborhood. It's almost very much like Edward Scissorhand-esque neighborhood, where it's just cookie cutter, Levittown-esque houses, and they get lost in this house. They get lost in the space of the neighborhood, and they find out that they are at the whelm of these alien life forms, and they have a baby that they have to take care of, and it takes plight of their relationship. It takes plight of their mental capacity, and it's just a really weird, interesting film that really hit home for me.
It's out there for sure.
Yeah.
And I think the performances were pretty good. They were basically playing off of each other throughout the whole thing.
Yeah,
and
very much. And
this weird like baby creature, from what I remember, that came in like a box, like a package.
Yes, yeah.
It was very strange, and I'm a little surprised that it's on your list, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's one of those things that just kind of sears into your brain, and I never forgot it. And I thought it was just such a unique concept for a movie.
Vivarium.
Yep.
All right. Forrest, number 5.
My number 5 was Promising Young Woman.
Awesome. Is that on everybody's list? I think so, right?
It's on my shame list. I still have to see it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, pretty much everybody. Yeah, everybody's list.
Yeah.
Cool. All righty, Matt.
My number 5 is The Gentleman.
Wow.
It's one of those movies that, I went in with pretty low expectations, and it was, a beautiful return to form for Guy Ritchie. I mean, it was everything I loved about his first few movies. I thought the action was just like super fun. The performances were great. That one rap song was stuck in my head for like a month and a half. But overall, I just thought it was really fun. I'd never really cared about Charlie Hunnam before. I never really watched anything with him in it, and I fell in love with him from this movie, and it just was a lot of fun, and I just really enjoyed it.
All right, cool. That was that was a Guy Ritchie like crime, dramedy thriller. Yeah, it was good. Pretty much everything he did.
I think we reviewed on your show as well.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
It was like February.
This is great.
It's something I saw in a theater like back.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. All right, so that was our number 5s, and now we're at number 4, and we're getting to the really good movies in our minds. This one for me, number 4, is Sound of Metal.
Yeah, that's my number 3.
Oh wow, okay.
Number 3.
That's nice. On my shame list.
Nice. It's on Amazon Prime, and it tells the story of a drummer who basically begins to lose his hearing and makes his way to like this farm house community.
It's like a deaf rehab.
Yeah, like a deaf community, and basically he like learns sign language to read lips and different things of that of the blind world. And this movie was just really well acted. It was very quiet, very subtle. I think the sound design was brilliant because it made you actually kind of experience what it's almost like to be deaf. And you actually, I wouldn't know, but I'm assuming, and kind of like muffled the sounds, and like it was just very it was this movie, I guess you would call it an experience, and the acting was great. And
sounds like what Huey Lewis from Huey Lewis in the News is going through.
Yeah,
he's slow. He's becoming deaf.
Yeah,
or Brian Johnson from AC/DC.
Yeah.
So this is like a regular problem with musicians, I'm assuming. Yeah.
Rock musicians, really.
Yeah. Matt, I know you're a musician, right?
Yes, and I'm also have very terrible hearing.
Oh, right.
It's not. I'm a singer. I can't sing with earplugs in. It just, I don't get how to do it. It just feels weird. So I played like that for 20 something years, and it's I usually never know what people are saying when they're talking to me. It happened yesterday when I was out. Someone was like, "Oh, boy," and I was just kind of like. And now with masks,
yeah,
forget it, man. With masks, I'm just like, I can't even like pretend to read your lips. I'm just like, oh no.
Man, I didn't even think of that about it. The deaf community during the pandemic. That's wow.
Yeah, no, it's got to be brutal for people who read lips.
Well, you know what? I'm really glad that this movie came out, because I don't think I've seen a movie that really handles the issue of of deafness in such a powerful way.
Yeah. I'm also very glad that you had me review it on your show.
Yeah,
because it was on my list of things I wanted to see, but I don't know if I would have seen it already.
And it's a documentary or a narrative?
No, it's a feature narrative. Yeah, it's phenomenal. It's great.
Because it's Riz Ahmed that's playing the lead, right?
Yeah, let me check that. Riz Ahmed is the lead. Who he looks familiar. Rachel,
He was in Rogue One. He was in The Night Before on HBO.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've also got Olivia Cooke, who was in Thoroughbreds, a film we mentioned earlier, and Ready Player One. She's good. But most notably, there's a supporting role by an actor named Paul Raci, who is basically in charge of the deaf community. And he kind of welcomes Riz Ahmed into this world and kind of guides him a little bit and teaches him how to be deaf. And Matt and I reviewed this along with Mank, and those were two of the
best movies of the year.
Agreed. Yes. So, okay, that is my number.
Shit, that just made me realize I have 11 movies on my list.
Nice. All right, so that's number 4. Rachel.
Okay, my number 4 is Borat 2. While I know that a lot of people were comparing the first and the second and saying, oh, well, the first has more quotable moments or it has more of this or that. Borat 2, I think, is the much more substantial movie and the much more impactful movie. And I think the addition of his daughter to the cast, it was not something I knew I wanted, but holy shit. She is great.
She was so good.
Yeah.
She was the highlight. I think she was even better than Sacha Baron Cohen herself.
Yeah. Definitely a very consequential movie right now, especially with the rise of hate group. Hate groups have always been here, but them becoming much more
commercialized hate groups. The hate party.
Yep.
Patriot Party.
Yep.
What was even better was the promotional stuff. Like the posters had Borat wearing a mask on his genitalia.
Yeah.
Like that was a very comical take, and that was the first time I've seen a movie kind of like satirize our current predicament. So that was very cool. All right.
And also great because I know that the audience of Borat 2 ended up raising a bunch of money for her babysitter from the film, who lost her job due to COVID.
Oh wow!
Mm-hmm.
I heard that. Yeah. All right.
Great choice. Yeah.
Chris, number 4.
Yeah, number 4. We kind of spoke about this last week. A movie that I adore, a movie that I wish I saw on the big screen. If we were in the current predicament, I would have been running to it. Midnight Sky, George Clooney's Midnight Sky. I loved it. I know, Randy, you're not as big of a fan, but I think it's such a huge spectacle of a movie that has great visuals. It's really hefty, but George Clooney really manages to make it very small, and that's a feat in itself. And it just rubbed me all the right ways. So loved it.
It kind of was like Castaway in the Snow a bit, like man versus nature in a way.
Yeah, I could see that, but I think it.
What did they call the ball in this one?
No volleyballs in this.
Right.
It was a tennis ball. It was
It was a figment of his imagination, actually. Right?
It was a golf ball. It was titliest.
Yeah.
No.
But I just think I think it goes beyond that. I think it actually kind of speaks to this current state now where, we have so much communication at our fingertips. Look at Zoom, look at social media, but we're still so alone and we're still so isolated, especially during a pandemic. So I think it just speaks volumes to today's climate. Yeah.
And Clooney directed it as well, right?
He directed it. I think he was a collaborative with the screenwriting process too. I think he did quite a bit with it, and it's his first acting role, his first real role in a couple of years. So he kind of jumps back at it. Like I mentioned before, he's one of those actors where at this point I just would watch anything that he's in. He's just great.
Side note, The Descendants, I think, is my favorite of his roles.
Yeah, love The Descendants. A movie that
Up in the Air
is one of my favorites of his, and just a hidden gem with him is The American. I love The American. That might be one of my favorites of his. It's not talked a lot about, but I think it's so quiet, and there's some really good action and really good suspense in that too.
Haven't seen that, but another movie just came.
Randy, you have to see The
American. I didn't know it was that good. It kind of
it's beautiful. It's the first scene will just pull you in. The first scene actually reminds me a little bit of how Michael Clayton kind of pulls you in.
Love Michael Clayton. I was gonna say, I think that might be my favorite role of his.
Yeah. I mean, I've watched Michael Clayton more than I can count, and if from a craft and from a student of cinema and writing, Michael Clayton is a must.
Okay, so Michael Clayton is now on my eternal shame list.
You have to. It's
I got to get on that.
Yeah, it's Sidney Lumet, I believe, and it's awesome. Yeah.
And another one, the Coen Brothers film that not a lot of people really know about, Intolerable Cruelty.
Oh yeah. One of my least favorite of the Coen Brothers films, but a good film nonetheless.
One of your favorite or the favorite?
One of my least favorite of the Coen Brothers films, but I still enjoy it.
I think that's the first time I saw Clooney in a comedic sense. So that was Well,
I watched Facts of Life when I grew up, so I saw him in that.
All right,
and ER, but not the ER you're thinking of. The ER with Elliot Gould, which was a sitcom that he was also on.
And that had nothing to do with the more modern ER, right?
No, it just happened that he was in two shows called ER.
Right. That's fun.
And I'm mistaken. The director of Michael Clayton's Tony Gilroy, I should say. Also a fantastic director.
Cool. All right. Forrest, your number 4.
My number 4 was The Five Bloods.
Nice.
Nice.
Good choice.
Spike Lee. He always has a great director. Always, has a very strong voice. And this was, I feel like this is one of his strongest movies in a while.
Yeah, especially this came out, I think, right smack dab in the middle of the Black Lives Matter.
Yes, it's perfect. The timing of its release was perfect.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I loved Black Klansman. I thought
that was good. That was good.
Absolutely loved it.
Yeah. That was on my top 10 for 2019.
Same here.
Yeah. Great film.
I have to, on a side note, I have to. A movie that I haven't watched is Do the Right Thing. That's on my internal shame list.
You've never seen Do the Right Thing?
I know.
That's a classic.
I watched it every few years. I love that movie.
I do have the Criterion version of it now. It was on sale and I grabbed it. So I might do a Spike Lee double feature with The Five Blood, which is on my shame list, and do.
You know what? Do a triple feature with Malcolm X, because that's a classic too.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yep. Awesome.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right, Matt, did you just go, or you were about?
I did not go yet. Okay. My number 4, which is my number 5. So my number 4, part 1, is The Invisible Man. Where it was one of those, another film I didn't have like super high expectations for, but it was just like it was a really good thrill ride, and I thought her performance fighting no one was so good that I just had to love it. She's so good at fighting no one.
Elizabeth Moss, yeah, she was terrific. I agree.
Yeah, and a great take on the Invisible Man.
It was just like the story, like him trying to make her lose her mind, basically. Like, I mean, which is like the fucking worst gaslighting that's ever happened in the world. And it's like the best film about gaslighting.
Yeah.
And it's with like another thing we needed to see this year,
Yeah. I can't wait what else, like what in this this universe of monsters are gonna pull up. I was thinking it would be cool if Dracula was like a cannibal, like if they make a real version of like a cannibal or something like that, just someone who sucks blood or something like that. Like I don't know how they're gonna spin a real version of cannibal.
Hopefully they don't just make him like Bill Cosby, like, I'm a Dracula, I'm gonna slip this in your drink and bite you.
Oh god.
I'm just thinking maybe they should just redo A Vampire's Kiss.
Seriously.
Nicolas Cage is Dracula. There you go. I'm a vampire. I'm a
vampire.
Classic. I love it. All right. So we all just did our number 4s. Great. Number 3 for me, another fresh in my mind movie. Last week's News of the World, the Tom Hanks Western drama directed by Paul Greengrass. They had previously collaborated on Captain Phillips. And this is just a very rough and tumble, gritty Western, which has some pretty good gunfight scenes and a really
good use of money.
Yeah. And yes, recoil. And,
money shots.
And a great performance from newcomer Helena Zengel, who plays this young girl that Tom Hanks' character comes across. She was kidnapped by Indians, and now he's basically transporting her to her only existing relatives. And along the way, they come across bandits and would-be rapists and just a lot of bad stuff. And, Tom Hanks came out with this last year, as well as Greyhound. The war film is a World War II battle epic, which I didn't particularly like that much, but this film kind of redeemed Tom Hanks, and I'm glad it came out. It's a quality film. I love Tom Hanks, as all of you know, and this is just a really great role for him, and his first Western, if you don't count the Toy Story franchise. So,
there's a snake in my boot.
There you go. So that is number 3 for me, News of the World. Rachel.
So News of the World had also been on my list, so I'm going to go with another one, Freaky, which this isn't necessarily my number 3 movie of the whole year, but it's not in a particular order except for my number 1, which was Promising Young Woman. But Freaky, same reason why I put Happy Death Day to You on my best of list when that came out. I can't wait to see what this writer-director does next, because I was a little bit concerned when I heard Vince Vaughn and I heard that it was going to be doing some stuff with gender. I was a little bit concerned. However, I did not need to be concerned. I was very pleasantly surprised by all of it. So, and I kind of wish that they had stuck with the original title of Freaky Friday the 13th, but I understand probably couldn't get that cleared by legal. So.
And they also probably were like, we don't know if we can actually get it out on Friday the 13th.
Yeah. A very original horror story, horror comedy. Really, again,
you need to put on the whole Freaky Friday premise.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's just like most of the movies we're talking about, they're fun, and Freaky is just a quality horror comedy. And it was nice to see Vince Vaughn in a very silly role playing this teenage girl. So
Yeah, because he never does comedies. That guy never does comedies.
The funniest thing, I would say it's probably the
Wild.
funniest thing he's done since Wedding Crashers.
Yeah, right.
Wow,
That's a bold statement.
15 years, yeah. All right, Chris.
I'm there with you, Randy. Number 3 is News of the World for me. Just loved it. Yeah,
Cool.
I don't think we could say more.
True. Well, I should mention Paul Greengrass's direction. Like he went from a ship in the middle of the ocean to the desert plains of Texas. Like he can like direct anywhere, it seems.
Like I've mentioned it here in your show, but Paul Greengrass got me into looking at the craft of film, and with United 93, that film like touched me in some certain way. I remember at the time I saw that in 2003, and we were almost as a nation kind of past the very impetus of 9/11, and I didn't think much about that movie when it came on. I didn't really want to watch it because I didn't want to really relive 9/11, but that last scene of just you see the plane going down from the view of the cockpit until it just goes to black was, if there is a scene that kind of made me say, hey, like I really want to study film, it was that, because I knew what the outcome of that story was, and it was so simple. It was just you just see the angle of the shot getting closer, and yet I thought, like, why is this such a dramatic feeling just overwhelming me? And I just wanted to study the craft more and more and more. I mean, there were other films that got me involved in the studying of the craft too, but that was like the catalyst for me. So I followed his career, and loved the Bourne movies, loved Captain Phillips. I actually saw it at the gala event in Lincoln Center, which was awesome. And this is just right up there. It's such a gritty, cool take on a Western. I love the fact that Hanks is older, so he's not like, the bucking bronco type of guy, but he's kind of, someone who is more relaxed and is confident of who he is, and is very enduring, I think. And that's that enduring relationship that he has with that girl is something that you don't see in other Westerns, and which might take a campier view of the cowboy. He's someone completely different. So bravo.
Yeah, definitely. Very gritty and very memorable. And I think I liked it almost a lot more than True Grit, the Coen Brothers version, which has some similarities of
that's very similar. Love True Grit too. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, still at number 3, Forrest.
My number 3 was Soul.
Mm.
I mean, we pretty much kind of discussed a good portion of it, but I will just say it was there was a couple. First of all, there was one moment in that movie that was meant to be a joke, and I laughed, but I was like, oh, I feel so attacked.
I know exactly what joke you're talking about too.
Yes. And then, but also it was just kind of crazy just to see, growing up listening to Nine Inch Nails, and the stuff they play, and then hearing finding out that Trent Reznor is scoring this Disney Pixar film
with a jazz score.
Yeah, that was completely out of left. For me, that's not something I would have anticipated seeing as a kid.
Definitely.
I'm glad we didn't get another Randy Newman score, because that's his sound is just
getting tired now.
Exactly tired.
Like, I love Randy Newman, but all right, let's retire him. Put him back in the closet.
Right. All right, yeah. So it's good to see something fresh, to hear a fresh score. Matt, number 3.
You know what? I'll say I have 2 number 3s here. And both of them we already talked about, so I'll just stick them out here. Mank and Sound of Metal. We discussed them. They're both glorious films, and we discussed them. So let's move on.
Moving on. All right. Oh, we're getting there. Number 2. Number 2 for me is another smaller film that you guys probably don't know of. I actually interviewed the cast from this. It's called Mighty Oak, and it's a dramedy about a band that basically early on in the movie they lose their lead singer. He passes away, and a few years later they kind of reform after the breakup. They reform after meeting this young boy. He's like this 11-year-old musical prodigy, and basically this boy unites them and they become a new band. And it's just a beautiful story. It's very well acted. Alexa Pena-Vega and her husband Carlos Pena-Vega are in it. Alexa Vega, you probably remember Pena-Vega from the Spy Kids films. And everyone, just Janelle Parrish is in it. Tommy Reagan plays the boy. And it's just a beautiful film. Great soundtrack, very well acted. And it's just one of those movies that's not a lot of people know about. So yeah, that's my number 2, and I recommend it. It's called Mighty Oak. Great film. So Rachel, you're up.
All right. So for my number 2, I am gonna give a shout out to The Happiest Season, which is now going to be a regular watch for me at the holidays. It's been a while since we've had a really good dysfunctional family Christmas movie that's not a total downer. And the fact that it centers on a gay relationship is just really great. Some of the best fashion of like any movie this year was Kristen Stewart in that movie. Wow, she just looks amazing in every outfit in that movie. Not to mention the fact that this is the movie that launched 1,000 Twitter fights over whether or not she should have ended up with Aubrey Plaza's character, who is also fantastic in this, and also includes 2 of my favorite drag queens, Ben Delacreme and Jinx Monsoon, in a scene in a drag show. It's so much fun. The cast is great. And you can watch it and join in the fight about whether or not the right people ended up together in the end. So
cool. That's quite a statement. Like, that becomes a new tradition for you, Rachel.
Yes. Oh yeah. I have already watched this this past Christmas. I watched it multiple times from when it came out through the new year. So it's really wonderful.
How is that on any streaming services?
It is available on Hulu. And I will say that one of my favorite characters of the whole thing is a middle child that they managed to write so perfectly as a middle child, who is the character of Jane, who is also one of the co-writers of the script. And I mean, the cast for this is just, again, stacked. You've got Victor Garber, you've got Aubrey Plaza, you've got Kristen Stewart, just
Alison Brie, Mary Steenburgen.
Yes. Oh goodness.
Good.
Yeah, it's really fun.
Nice. Looking forward to that. Chris, number 2.
Number 2. All right. A movie that I love. After watching this movie, my heart, my jaw just dropped. I love it. Eduardo Ponti's The Life Ahead. It's a Netflix movie starring Sophia Loren, and her son directed it. It talks about it discusses a woman, an older woman who suffers from dementia or starting Alzheimer's, and she's basically a den mother who takes in children of prostitutes. And you see this particular boy, how he's conflicted with doing the right thing and doing the wrong thing, and he could potentially become a drug dealer. He could potentially get into the wrong crowd, but she's kind of that driving force into him having a better life. Such a sweet, touching story. Sophia Loren plays actually a Holocaust survivor, and it's just a beautiful, sweet story between this relationship of this boy and this older woman. It's Italian. It's the soundtrack is beautiful, and it's definitely something that I'm going to revisit often. Yeah.
And this is Sophia Loren's first acting role in quite some time, I believe.
Quite some time. Yeah. Yeah. And it's something a little bit different for her. And it's just, boiled down. It's just a beautiful, beautiful movie. Yeah.
Cool. And that's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. Yep.
Great.
One of those reasons I super hate not getting to see a lot of these movies in theaters is I have such a hard time watching movies with subtitles at home because I'm so distracted by everything. Like
right.
It's like and I'm sure probably if the theaters had been open, half of my list probably would have been like international features.
Yeah.
Because it normally is.
Yeah.
And this year I didn't really see any because it's like I it's like my vision sucks, my hearing sucks, so it's like
I have like almost the opposite take on that too, where it's like I don't have a grand stereo, set up.
Yeah.
So like I find myself just putting captions on
I have them on all the time too, but
Yeah.
it's like usually like if I'm watching something, it's like I can hear it, but it's like I have so much trouble like actually watching anything with subtitles when it's necessary.
Yeah.
And I started watching it and I was like, the subtitles were like a little too small. I'm like, maybe I'll watch this in my room later. And then I was too tired. So I'm like, and it's like,
a bad combo.
and it's I put on Netflix and it's like continue watching. I'm like, I really want to.
Yeah, I always put on subtitles no matter what, just so I don't miss anything,
Yeah, I mean, if you can rewatch it, maybe.
Yeah, I've got to. I mean, I got like 5 minutes into it and was like, I'm like, kind of, they're too small. I gotta get new glasses.
Nice. All right, Forrest, you're up.
All right, my number two. Okay, so my number two is Possessor, from Brandon Cronenberg, son of David Cronenberg.
This needs to be on my shame list. I totally forgot about it.
Yeah, I will say right now, the apple didn't even fall off the tree with him. It's about an agent who works for a secretive organization that uses brain implant technology to inhabit other people's bodies, ultimately driving them to commit assassinations for high-paying clients.
That sounds familiar, actually.
It's in many ways it's very much like he is very much his father. Brandon Cronenberg is very much his father's son, or at least as David Cronenberg from the 70s, 80s. It's very it's very disturbing, very gory, but it's like when those gory moments happen, they make them count. They make it count. It's not just gore. It's much like David, again, I feel like it just draws so many. He just draws so many comparisons to his father, like good comparisons.
Good body horror.
Yes, good body horror.
What was the title? One more time.
Possessor.
Cool. That's good. All right. Hopefully, Jason Reitman has the same effect this year.
And I normally love Jason Reitman stuff, so we'll see if.
Although I feel like whereas Cronenberg's definitely very much like father like son, Reitman's kind of he's never been very much his style of comedy. Is just as his father.
More deep.
Yeah, he's definitely got more twisted sense of humor.
Yeah, Ivan Reitman's comedies are very straightforward and
they're more like family friendly, whereas like his sons are more like maybe you shouldn't watch this with your kids.
Very cerebral.
Yeah.
All right, Matt. Number two for you.
My number two is Pieces of a Woman. I love really sad shit. Anything that.
That's what this movie is.
Anything that.
I think that's a quote from the movie poster.
It is. It just has really sad shit on it. RogerEbert.com, really sad shit. But I love movies about human emotion and loss, and especially like I love movies about the dynamic of like of relationships, like the bad shit in relationships. And you know, I just eat that up like soup. Spoon feed me that sad shit. And like we were discussing through our texts, like Rabbit Hole came up, and you know, it was, I saw that in the theater when it came out and was like this movie is so great and I never want to see it ever again.
Yep.
And it's like, I love a movie that makes me never want to see it again, but not in a body cam way.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like when the emotion is so pure and tender that it hurts to watch.
Yeah.
You know, like
yeah, it's funny because I feel like there's two spectrums of like what makes a great movie, that or like a movie that you can watch 100 times.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like they're two bookends. You know, it's like are you all the way here? It's like you can have both those. You know, you can have the full set.
Yeah.
And you know, it's an encyclopedia collection. But you know, and usually it's these kind of movies that really always make it up high on my list, or you know, just ones that like knock the wind out of you. You know, it's like I don't know what else to say. You know, it's just like
it's definitely a beautiful film. I mean, you mentioned the performances earlier, and the camera work is incredible. The first, we mentioned that earlier as well. The first half hour before the main title is just a 30-minute home birth sequence, one shot. At least it seemed like one shot, and kind of shaky camera. Beautiful film, just a beautiful film all around. So yeah, Pieces of a Woman. Yeah, it's awesome. All right, guys. So now we're at the coveted number one. And for me, this has been mentioned by most of you already. My number one is Mank.
Mank.
Yeah. Gary Oldman knocks it out of the park once again. He plays a cat. He plays a real life
cat. We want to say he plays a cat.
No,
we saw a different movie, Randy.
No, but he plays Herman J. Mankiewicz, who is credited with writing, Citizen Kane, and this film chronicles that journey of writing the script for considered to be one of the greatest movies of all time. And it's directed by David Fincher, who shoots it in black and white, which is a very good choice. I liked it a lot because it captured 1930s Hollywood beautifully. And it just transports you to a time that I kind of wish I was around in, to this beautiful time in, Golden Age Hollywood. And worth mentioning, this was actually written by Jack Fincher, David Fincher's father, who intended the film to be released after The Game, 1997's The Game, also directed by David Fincher. But it, for some reason, never came to fruition up until now. And better late than never, we get a great historical drama. And yeah, for me, number one this year was Mank. I'm going to rewatch this a few times because it's just a beautiful film. It checked off all the marks on my list of quality cinema. So yeah, with that, Rachel, number one.
So my number one has already been talked to death pretty much, Promising Young Woman. So I'm going to give a shout out to the 40-year-old version on Netflix, which we kind of briefly did a synopsis earlier. It's about a 40-year-old playwright who had been chosen as a 30 under 30 playwright, and then just never got any work produced. She's working as a school teacher, teaching drama to a bunch of high schoolers who all kind of are like, you're teaching us playwriting and you've never even had a show, like an actual show. And so she's kind of having these two artistic endeavors, this play that she wrote ages ago that she's trying to get produced. But then she also is getting interested in rap and kind of rediscovering her love for rap. and yeah, it's really wonderful. Great performances all around. And if you are a theater person like me, there is so much insider baseball going on in this script and in this movie, and I really loved it. I thought it was just very smart and felt very real to me.
Cool.
Nice.
Awesome.
Chris, number 1.
All right, my number 1, man, I love this movie. It's a movie that I don't hear much people say about it, but it hit me in all the right ways. It's Gavin O'Connor's The Way Back, and it stars Ben Affleck. He plays a prior basketball high school star who walked away from the game, who suffered or struggles with alcoholism and a poor marriage, and he has an opportunity to go back to his high school and coach the basketball team. And it is such a great examination of alcoholism and of addiction. And I think it's probably Ben Affleck's best performance in a movie. And because he handles that topic of addiction, of alcoholism, because he himself suffered through it. And it was such an interesting take and such a tender take on that. I'm reminiscent when watching it over Denzel Washington's performance in Flight. And to me, they were polar opposites, where Denzel Washington was very bombastic in how he portrayed an alcoholic. He was, drinking a liter of vodka while driving, and he was like, slurring, and he was like being obnoxious towards his family. Ben Affleck took a very quiet approach to alcoholism, where he's kind of imploding as a person, and the struggles that he's facing is by himself. And I thought it was such a tender way of emoting that struggle. And he then has to kind of, pull himself back up and kind of make amends with himself by coaching this team. And he struggles with that. He's not the best coach, and he has to come to terms that he has to put his self grievances aside to do best for this team. And it's just a fantastic movie. Gavin O'Connor also directed him in The Accountant, which I also thought was a great performance by Ben Affleck. And I just can't wait to see what else they collaborate on and what else the director has to offer going forward. Yeah.
I'm Batman. No, I'm kidding. Forrest, your coveted number 1.
My cover number 1. Okay, so this one actually premiered. It had a festival premiere in 2019, but it got a wide release early last year. Color Out of Space, directed by Richard Stanley and starring Nicolas Cage. It's an adaptation of an H.P. Lovecraft story. It's actually Stanley's first movie as director in over 25 years. Because he hadn't directed a movie he had directed the other Dr. Moreau, but got ousted halfway through production, and he didn't direct any features for a long time. Also, Nicolas Cage really, I feel like this this is definitely his one of his cagier roles. Especially like after if you didn't like jujitsu, I would say watch this just to wash away the bad taste of that movie.
Palate cleanser. It's so good.
Yes,
it's such an incredible film.
Pair this with Mandy, you've got a great night.
Yeah. It's actually, I feel like it's kind of. I actually remember describing it to someone at Cinema Arts Center as sort of like Mandy meets The Thing. That's how I would best describe it. I love, really like the special effects, cinematography on this.
Yeah. The purple light coming through the windows. It's crazy.
What's the name of this?
Color Out of Space.
All right, I gotta check
it's
that
the
out.
poster that's behind Forrest.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Okay.
Poster for it.
It's basically Cage is a family man, and a meteorite crashes onto their property and creates crazy alien effects on the people there.
farm and all across the woods. And
Yeah.
farm.
It's very, very.
And Tommy Chong is in it too.
Yeah,
Ooh.
it's out there, man. It's great.
It's very out there. It's very disturbing in all the right ways. You feel for the character. You definitely feel for the characters.
Yeah, quality film. Cool. All right, Matt.
All right, so I mean, we've already talked enough about this movie, but my number one movie was Like a Boss. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. It's Promising Young Woman. And I mean, we've talked it out, yada, yada, yada. If you have not seen this movie yet, see it. Just see it. See it. I loved it. It surprised me. It amazed me. It made me laugh. It made me cry. It made me scream. It made me die. I'm dead. I'm a ghost. I'm a ghost.
Isn't that a reference to body cam?
Yes.
Oh God. Let's just start the new year off with no mention of body cam.
I will never let you live it down, Randy.
Damn it.
I will be talking about body cam when I am a ghost in your body cam.
Nice. I see what you did there. All right. And speaking of ghosts, I think that segues into our next topic. Most anticipated films.
I'm like, ghost?
Most anticipated films for 2021. And I'm just going to mention a few titles here. I think we all know Ghostbusters Afterlife for me.
Mm-hmm.
The French Dispatch.
Wes Anderson.
Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I will watch anything that man does. He's an auteur in every sense of the word.
I don't know.
No?
I'm getting kind of a staleness with.
Oh no.
Anderson.
Well, yeah,
No.
But still, his visuals.
I get it. And I used to be like that with Anderson, but like I want like a curveball from him.
That like we discussed this
Yeah.
in the previous show.
Yeah.
I don't remember what we're talking about, but it was a tangent.
Yeah.
I think it was the last show. It was we're talking about Sophia Coppola. We're talking about On the Rocks.
Yeah.
And I mentioned that
Mhm.
it would be nice to see something more adult
Yeah.
from Wes Anderson.
Yeah.
Or
I don't
like,
think we are. I think that's
yeah.
we're stuck with this.
We're stuck with them. And
I would love to see
it's
like
fine enough for me, but I would love to see that.
like I would be excited to see like a horror film directed by.
I mean, that's Saturday Night Live.
We're gonna end up with something like Synecdoche, New York, if
Right,
we do
right,
Wes
right.
Anderson.
Or like,
That's a
or
great
like
film, by the way.
if Wes Anderson like directed a Star Wars film, since like that'd be kind of cool.
I want Wes Anderson to direct a Charlie Kaufman film.
There
Oh, a collaboration between those two. Oof.
you go.
They would probably both murder each other. It'd be
Creative differences.
yeah.
So the French Dispatch, I'm really looking forward to. I'm also looking forward to Cherry, crime drama starring Tom Holland. And yeah, it'd be nice to see him out of the Spidey suit. So
Well, I'm also excited for Untitled Spider-Man Far From Home
Yep.
sequel.
Yeah, that's
I am so excited for that.
maybe I should rephrase that. I mean, I really love Tom Holland as Spider-Man, but I do want to.
I love him as anything. He's great.
I want to see him branch out into something else. So, Coming to America.
Yep, that's on
That
mine
should be
too.
fun. Hopefully, it won't just rehash the same material from the first film, but I'm kind of sort of hopeful that it'll be like Bill and Ted Face the Music. So we'll see.
Yeah, and it's like I mean, it's another one of those movies they've talked about for years.
Yep.
And I've been like, about it, but after Eddie Murphy's
The Dynamite.
Mr. Cherry.
yeah,
They call me Dolomite.
Oh,
Call me Dynamite.
Dolomite.
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 yeah, after Dolomite, like
Yes.
it was like, oh wow, like Eddie Murphy can be classic Eddie Murphy again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was good to see that. So I have higher hopes for this.
I think it's going to be exactly what we're thinking it's going to. We're expecting.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be fun. There'll be some laughs.
Yeah, but it won't maintain the freshness of the original. So.
Yeah.
In the Heights, Rachel.
Yes.
That'll be awesome.
I actually was. It's weird because I do not like musicals. I'm not a musical person, and seeing trailers for this in the theater, I got really excited about it. And this was like one of those movies that like I was so stoked to see it when it came out this summer.
Yeah.
And it was just like one of those things where I'm like, I don't know what it is, but I really want to see this movie. And then it's like I still really want to see this movie. Release it. But we got on HBO Max, right?
Yes, it's gonna be HBO Max. Yep.
And I'm trying to see it in the theater.
And I'm really excited about it because I liked Hamilton on Disney Plus, but I think this. I don't know if this is going.
I haven't even seen Hamilton, but like, there's just something about this that made me like, I need to see this.
Yeah, it's very relatable if you live in the city or in the city area, and it just looks like a very fun musical. So.
And while I won't say that the show in the 40-year-old version is the Harlem Ave show that she's writing in that movie, I won't say that it's In the Heights because In the Heights is definitely not that. However, it's clear that aesthetically, the writers of 40-year-old version did take some things from In the Heights and parodied them quite a bit with the way that Broadway usually handles Black stories. So when you watch those two side by side, enjoy.
Okay. And Lin-Manuel Miranda, it's based on his stage play, same name.
Yep.
But he didn't direct or write this, or
he helped do a rewrite with the other original writer of the book of In the Heights. And I don't mean like a book like a novel. I mean the book as in the script of the musical. Because he actually co-wrote this. I'm blanking on her name, but they did a rewrite on this, and actually I know that they've expanded on some stuff, and I know that they've added some stuff to the story involving, I believe that some of it has to do with the Dreamers program and about the threat of deportation. I know is going to be a part of the story now. And the director of it is the director who did Crazy Rich Asians, which if you saw that movie, it is gorgeous. It is big, beautiful, like exactly what this movie needs.
It's pretty much the only thing I really liked about that movie was how it looked. The rest of it, I was like, meh.
I kind of liked Awkwafina's performance.
I mean, there were a lot of great characters in the movie.
Yeah,
but like writing wise, it was lacking a lot.
We will have to get into that later because I love that movie. But we're
maybe I'll have to watch it again.
Yeah. Sorry, Forrest, were you saying something?
No, I was just agreeing with Rachel because I was a fan of the movie of Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah, it's a fun one. It's just very light and.
Well, and I just also wanted to say all the shots of food in that movie made me hungry. So
nice. All right, few more on my list of stuff that I'm looking forward to. This was delayed a few times. No Time to Die, the James Bond film. Daniel Craig's fifth and final outing as the famed spy. So that should be
the last movie I had tickets for. I had my tickets already when they canceled it. So
sucks.
And also, I don't like James Bond movies, but I thought this looked really good.
Well, we're all gonna see it. Matt, you'll see it eventually. So.
Yep.
So stay tuned for that. Halloween Kills, sequel to the 2018 reboot.
That's my number one on my most anticipated.
Nice.
Yeah, it's up there.
And
Quiet Place 2.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, I thought about that. Yeah.
I still haven't seen the first one, and I need to get on that.
Yeah,
yes,
you have to. Yeah.
We'll reconvene when the second one comes out, and we'll review them both together. Talk about all of them. The Dune reboot looks intriguing, based on the 1965 novel by Frank Herbert. And lastly, I believe this came out last year, but I just found out about it last night. It looks very interesting. It's called Minari, and it's basically about a Korean American family. They move into an Arkansas farm, and basically they face challenges. And it stars Stephen Yeun from The Walking Dead. And I watched the trailer. It looked interesting. So I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, this is in my pile of things that I was trying to get to before our show tonight, but I did not make.
Okay. Well, we're both looking forward to it then.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Rachel, what are you looking forward to?
Okay, so leaving off the ones that were already mentioned, I'm looking forward to Judas and the Black Messiah,
Yes.
The Mitchells versus the Machines, which was previously called Connected, but the Mitchells versus the Machines was actually the original title for it. It's a new animated film from Sony Pictures. Raya and the Last Dragon. I cannot wait for this movie. I'm so excited for it. The Little Things, which we're going to be reviewing very soon here. The United States versus Billie Holiday.
Oh yes, I cannot wait for that.
Nobody, which
Not my
Yes,
like number
that's
one.
the top. Yep, that's the top of my list too.
Luca, which is the new Pixar movie coming out this year. The Beatles documentary, The Beatles Get Back, which is Peter Jackson once again doing documentary work. The Next Goal Wins, which is the new Taika Waititi movie. Last Night in Soho, which is the new Edgar Wright film. The Matrix 4 and West Side Story, which already another one that was delayed because of 2020.
I love Steven Spielberg is my favorite director, but I'm a little nervous about this one, Rachel.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm anticipating it. I don't know if it's going to be great, but I know at least that there are some very talented singers and dancers in it. So at the very least, that will be interesting to see. And it'll be interesting to see Spielberg do a musical.
Oh yeah, it's gonna look great and sound great. So
for sure.
Let's see. I love America. That's my favorite song from the soundtrack. Chris, what are you looking forward to seeing?
Yeah, something different from what was already mentioned. Andrew Dominic's Blonde, which is Marilyn Monroe biopic. Loved Killing Me Softly, so I can't wait to hear or see rather what he has to do with Marilyn Monroe. And also one that I found out today actually, which sounds interesting, and it stars again your boy Randy, Tom Hanks. It's called BIOS, which it's a sci-fi movie. And he plays a sick inventor who invents a robot to take care of his dog after he dies.
Cool. First time I'm hearing about
sure.
that one. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen a sci-fi movie from him since Apollo 13.
Well, he did The Circle. I think it was sort of sci-fi-ish.
That was sci-fi. Yeah. Oh, I didn't see it, but it just seemed very like evil TED Talk.
Yeah, no, I think it might have been more of a thriller that dealt with technology. Sci-fi and Hanks. Oh no, Cloud Atlas.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was terrible.
Agree to disagree.
Oh, okay. Maybe I need to rewatch, but from what I remember, it was pretty unwatchable. But
scandalous.
Yes, always.
Yeah, that's my list. Yep.
So, Forrest, what are you looking forward to seeing?
So definitely Halloween Kills and Ghostbusters Afterlife. After that, I'm looking forward to Nia DaCosta's Candyman follow-up.
Yes.
Yeah, that looks really good. That looked really good. Also, The Eyes of Tammy Faye, which is a biopic about Tammy Faye Baker starring Jessica Chastain in the title role.
All right.
Yep. Cool. And yeah, that's I guess I'm also looking forward to the next Spider-Man and James Bond movies, but I would say mainly for me Halloween, Ghostbusters, Candyman, and Tammy Faye.
Is that going to be a reboot or a sequel?
It's a sequel. It's a direct follow-up to the original.
Oh, it's so not. What about the Candyman 2? Farewell to the Flesh.
I mean, the second and third movies really didn't have much to do with the first one, other than the Candyman. But this one actually follows a character from the original.
Is Tony Todd reprising his role or no?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay.
This one brings the story back to brings the franchise back to Chicago.
Great. Is Virginia Madsen returning too?
No.
Okay. Rachel, remember when we met
We
Tony
met him.
Todd at the
Yes.
Reign of the Supermen premiere?
Yeah,
That was fun.
yeah.
He was
That
so
was really
nice.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a nice guy. And I am really excited about this, especially the short that the director put out that was that basically served as a promo for it. I couldn't be more excited about this.
Cool. All right, guys. Matt, you are up.
Yes. All right. Let's see what has not been mentioned yet. Earwig and the Witch, the new Studio Ghibli film coming out. It is the first 3D animated film from Studio Ghibli, which comes out in, I think, February, early February. We're getting it on one of the streaming services, probably HBO Max because they have all the Ghibli. So there's that. Of course, the Marvel stuff, always me. Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings, Eternals, and of course Spider-Man. I'm looking forward to not the Venom movie or the Morbius movie because fuck Sony. And surprisingly, I am super excited for the Suicide Squad. The fact that I'm excited for a DC movie is thrilling. And it's not because I hate DC Comics, it's because I hate the films. And James Gunn's Suicide Squad, I mean, come on. It's what they've needed since the beginning, and I and if it lives up to my expectations, because it's like this, I'm gonna give it high expectations because James Gunn, come on, what's he gonna do? Fail? I don't think so. And then let's see everything else we mentioned, and then last but not least, on the silliness factor, bringing back to our boy Nicolas Cage, Willy's Wonderland, which is
about.
It is a like Five Nights at Freddy's-esque thing where he plays the janitor at a animatronic pizza place.
Oh my god!
And then basically has to survive the night.
Oh, I love it. Sounds good. Very
and that's coming out, I think, in February as well. So
cool. And Matt, you'll be back to review that. Cool.
I have my
All right.
kids on too, because they're dying to see it because they're like huge Five Nights at Freddy's fans. So it's so funny that they're like, oh man, that, because like I was like watching the trailer on my phone, and they're like, is that Willy's Wonderland? And I'm like, what? Like, they're like, oh, we're so excited for that. And I'm like, oh, okay, because they just love Five Nights at Freddy's. So. And they're still working on a Five Nights at Freddy's movie, which I don't know, man. Are you gonna be able to top one with Nicolas Cage?
I don't think so. It sounds, yeah. All right. So I think we're almost about done, but I just want to go around real quick and just do some plugs. Anything we want to mention, promote, Rachel?
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at Rachel E. Kolb. You can find my dog Dobby, who tried to sabotage me earlier in the show. You can find his Instagram, Dobby the House Doggo, on Instagram. And you can also subscribe to my podcast, Faith Healing, which is available on iTunes, Spotify, anywhere that you can find podcasts.
Cool. Chris, plugs?
Yeah, nothing much. You can just check out Foreign Nationals at foreignnationals.net.
Nice. Forrest.
Great. So I'm part of a little group called Script Club, where every week we're doing a dramatic table reading of the Super Mario Brothers script for the Super Mario Brothers movie. It's on the channel, and the YouTube channel you can watch that on is Evil Greg. We're actually doing episode 3 this weekend.
And now, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the 1991 script that turned into the 93 film?
Infamous 1993 movie.
Okay. Cool. Very cool. So look forward to that. Matt, any plugs for you?
Well, as usual, Saturday nights we do the Cult Cafe stream at the Cult Cafe Not So Secret Society Facebook group. This weekend we are doing the 1983 film The Funny Farm, which is basically with Howie Mandel's in it, and Peter Aykroyd, Dan Aykroyd's brother.
Eater. Okay.
And it's basically a comedy about the Laugh Factory, the stand-up club, that they kind of based it on the antics that they all had there coming up, which I think that Laugh Factory documentary just came out recently, which I have to watch. And I thought, I heard someone talk about it and then thought, I haven't seen that movie in a while. Maybe I'll show that movie. So
all right,
that's this Saturday, 9:50-ish. And usually movie starts around 10, but there's some commercials and funfare before that leading up to it. So that's Cult Cafe, Not So Secret Society on Facebook.
And the Funny Farm, not to be confused with the Chevy Chase.
Funny Farm, yes.
Yeah, I was like,
which is a far superior movie, but no, but this is one that less people have heard of. So
gotcha.
I try to throw in the weird ones when I can. I decided. I mean, I did do 48 hours like a couple weeks ago.
You did,
just to spice things up. But I've learned while I'm doing the pandemic and doing these for my house that I should show more movies that my boss wouldn't let me show.
Cool.
Stuff where he would be like, "Hey, no one's gonna come see that." So why not put them out on the internet while people go watch?
So your boss doesn't monitor your online show at all?
I doubt it. He actually, I ran into him at the post office a couple months ago, and we talked a little bit, and I mentioned how I was doing it from home still, and he was like, oh, even though I post about it all the time. And it was like that moment when he finally liked the Cult Cafe Facebook page. So has he actually watched anything or thought anything about it? I don't know, but
all right. Well, we're watching. I know I'm watching. So
Randy's always there.
Yeah, keep it up. I love it. A little movie parties. Well, guys, I think we did it. We got through it all. So yes, I want to thank all of you for tonight. This was incredible. Every year it gets better and better. We get all these wonderful movies and we get to talk about them, and we get to talk about the not so good movies. So thank you.
No, I just want to say something before we leave.
Sure.
I feel like this is the end of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, when the kids like, French class. I finally get Chris's background, best in show. So anyway, I want to leave by saying best in show. I get it.
And there you have it, guys. Under the Radar, our best and worst of 2020. I want to thank everyone watching at home on your devices. And you could also watch episodes on Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as well as my YouTube channel. It's Under the Radar. I'm your host, Randy Unger, and I want to thank everyone watching. We'll see you next time. Take care.